Far Far West looks like a goofy game about robot cowboys fighting ghosts and aliens, but it's got a lot more bite than you might expect. So before you dive in, here's what you need to know to avoid getting boned. Starting with something the game really should tell you about immediately. You can only work towards unlocking one weapon at a time, and you have to manually select which one. If you don't, you're going to be farming the shotgun by default. And while it is nice, it ain't no minigun. As for the weapon fragments, you can find them by defeating level bosses, completing forge events, killing loot goblins, or randomly through wishing wells. On average, each weapon will take you, let's say, between 3 to 5 games to unlock. And once you do, make sure to switch your focus immediately or you're going to keep collecting fragments you simply don't need. Much like in the Elder Scrolls, you get better at using spells by using spells. So if you want to unlock the higher tiers of fire magic, you'll need to light the entire world on fire multiple times over. Or in other words, make sure to use your spells against enemies whenever possible, even if you don't really need to. It takes a while to level each category, so unless you have the patience of a saint, zap early and zap often. The same thing applies to your weapons, though these are obviously a lot easier to level since, a minigun doesn't exactly have a cooldown. While individual spells are powerful, spell combos push that power level to absolutely ridiculous heights. For example, if you throw an acid bubble at an active fire, you'll conjure a massive and massively powerful fire tornado. But not all spell combos are equally strong, and the order you use your spells in can matter. So when trying a new build, do make sure to test things out in the training grounds before you actually go into a game. But for now, here are a few of my favorites. Lightning Strikes plus Acid Geyser is a weapon of mass destruction at a very surprisingly low cooldown. Fire Surcharge plus Cactus Pistoliero will clear out all chaff enemies in record time. Cactus Mine plus Voodoo Drain will create mind-controlled mines, which are exactly as fun as they sound. And then Fire Beam plus Acid Geyser will summon a Fire Tornado and also do an absolute ton of AoE damage. While Far Far West starts off fairly chill, the higher difficulties will throw insane amounts of enemies at you, and challenging ones at that. So how do you survive? Well, you start by moving and then never stopping. Treat the game like a boomer shooter. Never stop moving, and if you can help it, never stop shooting. As long as you're light on your feet and don't corner yourself, you'll be able to avoid most incoming damage and make a complete mockery out of melee enemies. This then leads directly into Far Far West's most entertaining movement tech, the jump dash. It doesn't matter which order you do it in, jump then dash or the reverse. What matters is nailing the timing, because once you get good at chaining it, jumping around like a rabbit after 15 cups of coffee is unbelievably satisfying. And the best part is, the more you upgrade your speed, the more ridiculous this gets. To the point where you can cross the entire map, and these really are big, in the span of a couple of seconds. And speaking of upgrades, what is actually worth taking? Unsurprisingly, the two I value the most are health and speed. Since you only get one life in solo mode, anything that keeps you alive and hopping around is essential. After that, I like taking spell cooldown because big booms make me big happy, followed by jump height to really make the most use out of your jump dash. As for the ammo capacity, I find that upgrade to be kind of useless. Ammo is basically everywhere, and you would have to try really hard to run out, even if you're like me and you're just holding down the trigger on the minigun. While you're doing upgrades, don't forget to also buy and equip jokers. They are found in the bottom right of your character and weapon menus. Now this might sound like an extremely obvious tip, but I made it to very hard difficulty without even realizing you can do this for weapons. So hopefully I can save someone else from stumbling into the same open manhole. As for which ones to take, I would recommend using Gold Tooth as a generic filler for weapons to get you that all-important goal. And for the character jokers, will it come as any real surprise to hear that I am all about reduced gravity and increased speed? Gotta go fast! While Far Far West looks a bit like Helldivers 2, there is no actual timer for you to worry about. You can take as long as you want to explore the levels, find all the secrets, and power up your character. And I would highly recommend you do that, especially the very first time you enter a new map. The secrets aren't really that hard to puzzle out, and they reward you with a decent chunk of resources plus some fun jokers to mess around with. More importantly, since the map itself isn't randomly generated, only the objectives are, learning where you can find extra ammo or just a really good place to fight will give you a serious edge. Most maps have quests, either hidden or marked on your world map. And since you can only complete one part of each quest chain per run, you should prioritize doing them whenever possible. Why? Because this is how you unlock new areas. Finish the entire chain, head back to the saloon, and you'll open up a new map with its own unique quests, secrets, and colorful locations to absolutely ruin. Just be warned, the quest only counts if you actually finish the mission. So if you've just done a 15-minute quest that took you across the entire map, maybe don't test how far a nuclear explosion could realistically throw you if it were to detonate directly in your face. Not that I would have any experience with that. When fighting bosses, mobility is once again key. Their individual attacks aren't that strong, but their large health pools make it so any sort of chip damage tends to stack up very quickly. So circle strafe around them like you're fighting a Doom 1 boss, and you'll avoid most of their swings. And make sure to focus all of your damage on the bosses instead of wasting it on the trash tier enemies that will be filling the arena. Use your spells to handle those, as some of the bosses move around just way too much to reliably land a high damage spell combo. If you're not feeling ready to take on a boss, don't forget you can always fight enemies or destroy spawners to get a few extra jokers. Now, is this something you need to do every single time because it'll make or break your run? Of course not, but it is fun to shoot at things, and the higher the difficulty, the better the drops. So if you're like me and you wanna stress test the game and see just how absurdly fast you can go, clearing out the map is a very good way to do that. And while you're out there, you'll probably uncover some of the collectibles you managed to miss before, which really is a nice bonus. The final, and perhaps the most important tip, is that you can always just GTFO out of any nasty situation. The only time you're actually locked into a combat arena is during boss fights, and those you have to trigger manually. So if you're exploring and suddenly start getting sniped from every direction, while some douchebag on a horse throws even more douchebags on horses at you, just leave. Use the jump dash or your mount to create some distance. Find some ammo or health, wait for your spell cooldowns, and then, once you're finally ready, go outside and greet the rampaging hordes with a hail of bullets. This is also why I always run the Voodoo Drain spell. Even when you're in the middle of nowhere, it can top you off and save your run. And in a game where side quests can take 10 to 15 minutes to finish, that sort of thing can be a lifesaver. And there you have it. 12 tips that will hopefully make your first time with Far Far West all nice and speedy. I had a ton of fun with the game, so if you have any questions about it or the guide itself, toss them in the comments and I'll do my best to help you out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing, as this really does help me out a lot, and I do hope to see you again soon. Bye bye!